Hey everybody, Mike Hansen back with another Bite-Sized Tech Plus for Vintage Viewers video. Today's video is a little bit of a departure from what we usually do as far as technology is concerned. It is an old technology, but it is something that I've only become aware of probably in the last month or so. So I'm going to flip my camera around in a second or two, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. It is a propane griddle. Now, I've never done griddle cooking. It's kind of like a thing right now, but I have cooked on cast iron for a lot of my life. My grandma taught me how to do that. So today I'm getting the grill prepared for its first cook, and that requires seasoning just like a cast iron pan. Now, there are a zillion and one videos online with regard to how to get started with the Blackstone. So I thought I would just go ahead and make one myself. Two shout outs before I get started. The first one is to Miller's Ace Hardware in Citrus Heights, California. This came already assembled, so I don't have to spend hours and hours doing that. It also was delivered to my house for free, which is also another thing. So anything you need from a hardware standpoint, Miller's Hardware on Madison in Citrus Heights, California. The second shout out that I have is to a YouTube creator who calls himself the Flat Top King. I've watched a zillion of his videos as far as different recipes that he's prepared and getting the griddle ready to go. Now, one of the things is when you watch these videos, you got to pay attention and not do the things that they tell you not to do. So that'll be the first thing that we take a look at today, and I'll let you know what that is in just a couple minutes. The very first thing of the Flat Top King's advice that I scoffed at and ignored was I wiped down my griddle top with regular paper towels. He said, that'll leave lint all over it, and you maybe want to avoid doing that. And I said, nah, lint, really? Probably not. And I did it. So now my griddle top is all covered with lint. So I've got to redo this. To start off with the smoothest surface possible, I would recommend that you use actually a 180 sandpaper and go over the top of this before you wipe it down with a wet cloth and then a dry cloth. So let's do that. Ooh, much smoother. So now we're going to take our wet and dry cloths and wipe it down. I use surgical towels because they are pretty guaranteed to not have any lint on them. So I start with a wet one, go over the entire surface, even the sides, and get that little bit of sand dust up. Oh yeah, I can feel how much smoother that is just with the sandpaper, the little bit of sanding that I did. So I'm thinking it's like a cast iron skillet in that you want to start off with the smoothest surface you possibly can before you start building up those layers of seasoning. Oh my goodness. Look at that sanding dust on our towel. Okay, and now dry towel. You want to dry this with the towel, and then you want to let it sit for a few minutes, because the last thing you want to do is crank up the heat on this before all that moisture is off. And the reason for that is anywhere where there's moisture on your griddle or a surface like this, it's going to create hot spots. And if it creates hot spots, there's a potential for warping. So next step, get all your seasoning tools ready to go and your seasoning equipment ready to go. So for seasoning this Blackstone Griddle, I'm going to use the Blackstone Griddle seasoning. So I know there's a lot of other things that I can use, but since I'm a total beginner here, I want to make sure that I'm doing it right. I have a tablespoon to measure out the griddle seasoning, and right on the back it's going to tell me I have a 36-inch griddle, so it says 3 tablespoons. I have my long tongs so that I don't get too close to the heat. And for this step, we are going to use regular paper towels. And last, but way not least, some heat-resistant gloves so I don't burn my tender little hands. You ready to move on to the next step? Let's go. We are now ready to start the preheat process for our Blackstone Griddle. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on the gas tank at the source. Those are always a little tight when they come from the tank exchange place. We're going to turn our first burner on to low. And I have turned it on to low because I am so paranoid about warping this top. I don't want to have to even deal with that. So we're going to let this preheat for about 15 minutes. Then we're going to turn it up to high and we're going to get our seasoning going. Well, our griddle is preheated on low for 10 minutes. I've turned the temperature up to high and we're going to let it go for about another 10 minutes and then we're going to get into the seasoning process. Well, we're all preheated to high. I don't know if you can see it in the video here, but you've got kind of a bronzy ring around a more, I don't know, silvery center here. No more leaning on the grill or the griddle, that's for sure. This is hotter than heck. So I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I'm gonna shoot the infrared. 489 degrees in the center. So that's pretty hot. You're not gonna wanna lean on that. I'm gonna get my jar of seasoning opened up here. And I've got my tongs and my paper towels ready to go here. I've also got my heat-resistant gloves, so I'm going to go ahead and throw those on. Try not to take any chances with anything. Okay, these gloves make it a little bit hard to hold on to stuff, but better that than burned fingers, I say. I'm going to try to get it all around in all the places. And what I've seen on the videos is keep everything moving Go ahead and do the outsides too. Make sure you've got it spread around in a nice thin coating all over the surface. You can see it really smoking up here, and I'm going to have to level this out when we get a little further down the road. There's our first go. So we're going to time this up. Actually, we're not going to time it. We're going to wait until the smoke really starts to clear. Rumor says that's about 10 to 15 minutes. So we're just going to hang out and watch it and kind of go from there. So that's our first season. I'm not going to film each and every one of these. I'm going to try to do 3 today and see where it gets us. All right, I'll be back. There we are after 4 times through the seasoning process. I just wanted to go over the surface one more time. As you can see, the smoke is kind of going away pretty quickly. And I think that is going to do it for me for today. So I'm going to wait till that smoke goes all the way away, and then I'm going to turn this off, let it cool, and we'll wipe it out. Well, that was a long but not horrible process, so I hope I've done things right. I think tomorrow is going to be a day to try to cook. So let me have you take a look at what I've got going on over here. I have just turned off all the burners, and I'm going to just take a look around the griddle top, and we'll conclude this video. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and leave any comments in the comment section below. I know there are literally hundreds of videos on this process for this Blackstone grill, but I wanted to give you the perspective of a 100% neophyte. With that, thanks so much for watching, and have a super great day.